What's up, and welcome to Nowstalgia Pod, your weekly look what's going on in pop culture. I am Pat Sheehan. Look what you made him do. It's Dave Martinson.
I will not hear it.
Man, it's been quite a week. We had Game of Thrones finale, Conor McGregor fight, Taylor Swift dropping bombs, and a solar eclipse. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, shout out Conor McGregor making it worth the money.
Definitely interesting. At least he just got so tired, man.
Yeah, I know he did. He was but laboring, but fuck it, it's fine.
Yeah, his post match interview was a lot of fun to listen to. He's just an entertaining guy. You're really a fun athlete to follow. But we're not a sports podcast. You can look up Dave's old sports podcast for that. What was it called?
It's called Mercy Rule, but our SoundCloud lapsed, so there's only 5 episodes publicly available unless you go to there's only 5 left, so you can find the 5 most recent, which are from last December.
Wow. Well,
don't do that. Just give us a review on iTunes instead.
Yeah, and what you should do is hit subscribe on YouTube for Nowstalgia. Dave just created a super fire promo video, basically?
Yeah, YouTube channel trailer.
Yeah. Super
intro,
dope.
Everything.
A lot of our favorite shows, movies, all have clips in there with a little Young Pope music nod. So definitely give that a rating, review, share with friends, subscribe on YouTube. We need all the support we can get. Let's start, though, with something that kind of popped up out of nowhere this past week, Dave. It was announced that there might be a standalone Joker movie with Martin Scorsese attached to it.
Yeah, really weird. Came out of nowhere. Scorsese would produce, which doesn't mean much. It's with Warner Brothers. That's kind of a relationship he has. But Todd Phillips would direct Hangover, most recently War Dogs, and it would be set in the '80s, like New York, like a Scorsese vibe, like crime drama, right? And then alongside that, they announced that DC wants to launch like a sub brand of one-off movies, similar to the Star Wars anthology films, at least. And I mean, that's cool. That sounds fun. But it just seems kind of premature to plan all these spin-offs when we still have to get Justice League right. Like, let's make sure Man of Steel 2 is good and Ben Affleck stays on with the Batman. They're working, and like a lot of other news came out. Like apparently the Justice League Dark script wasn't good enough, so they're sending it back. Great, have high standards. Awesome to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But also they're making a separate Joker movie with Harley Quinn, which we kind of already thought about. Apparently Jared Leto would stay on to be Joker in that, but a new Joker would be cast for this one-off movie. So a lot of moving parts going on at DC. Joss Whedon had some bad personal things come out about being like a misogynistic guy. We'll see if he sticks around for Batgirl. So a lot of DC news happened, and we'll take the good with the bad, I guess.
I mean, there's no chance Scorsese's actually going to really do much of this movie. It's more just to have his name attached to it. It'd be interesting to see how they do this, because like Leto as the Joker got kind of mixed reviews in general from Suicide Squad. So then to not only do a movie with him and Harley Quinn, but then also do another movie with a different Joker, I feel like gets to be a little bit, I don't know if confusing is the right word, but a little bit muddled in a way. It's like get one Joker right before you're all of a sudden talking, putting it on 2 actors. And the other piece is that I feel like just doesn't make sense is we've been talking about how DC's needed wins for a while, and they finally got a big win with Wonder Woman. So now it's like, okay, this is like more of our plan. Just make sure you keep getting these steps of your plan correct first, like you were saying, and then we can worry about making these little like artistic movies, like similar to Logan in a way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's not these things are like imminent, like
right.
The movies we knew don't have dates, like Wonder Woman 2, that's being fast tracked, obviously. Mm-hmm. Aquaman comes out into next year. The Flash, though, that's had some issues. Let's hope the Flash is good. They're making the Suicide Squad too. Okay. But they got to figure some stuff out, sure. But it is cool to hear all these things are still, being worked on. But we'll find out more as things come out.
Well, speaking of finding out more as things come out, last time we talked about how a Taylor Swift single was imminent, and we were correct. And last, what was it, Wednesday night? She dropped
Thursday night.
Thursday night. Taylor dropped her first single off her upcoming album Reputation, which is slated to be dropped on November 10th. And the single's called Look What You Made Me Do. Dave,
Yeah.
you're shaking your head. Give me your review of Taylor's newest single.
Well, before I give you the review, let me tell you that it's a popular song. It's already up to 82 million views on YouTube. Broke the 24-hour streams record by a lot. 43.2 million streams in the first 24 hours, blowing away Adele's Hello by 15 million.
Oh, Hello, such nuts. A better song.
I know. This song is objectively bad. Both as a lead single because it's not catchy, and also artistically because it's all of Taylor Swift's stereotypical pettiness, but way worse. It's not cute, it's not endearing, it's not fun to root for. And the song itself somehow takes the hook from I'm Too Sexy and makes it less fun. Like, what is there to like about this song at all?
To be honest, I thought it was like a pretty good single up until the chorus. And then it hits that weird chorus, and then it goes into that phone call, and it's just so try hard. And I mean,
right,
for someone that obviously she's trying to go a little bit darker, it seems like a little bit more self-aware, a little more serious. It just feels like she misses on so much. And then she drops this weird music video, which, do you get a chance to watch this? I mean, it's mad weird up until the end, which I think is somewhat redeeming in terms of self-aware Taylor making fun of, past Taylor Swift personas. But overall, just a big swing and a miss. And also all the shots she's taking at Kanye and Kim just are really like distasteful in a lot of ways.
Yeah, like A, we get it.
Right.
Glad you have nothing else in your mind. B, I think playing off all her past selves just makes her look more fake. Personally, fine. We'll give that a net neutral. The social media scrub, you're just ripping off Radiohead from last year. So that's not original. Taking 3 days to post snippets of a snake video because everyone called you a snake last year. Like, that's not self-aware. That's just and there's imagery from Beyonce's Formation video in her video. Like, I just fail to see any artistry out of this one single. Obviously, it's just the one single. Got a whole album to come, but like, oh, I don't like your tilted stage. That's your sick Kanye burn.
and that tilted stage is fucking awesome.
Cool. Yeah, everyone thinks that's cool. Like, get the fuck out of here. But it's just like, obviously the song's killing it. It's gonna finally offset Despacito as a #1 song on Billboard after a great run by them, but it's not good.
No,
so
definitely not good. Do you think Taylor Swift intentionally is dropping her album on the anniversary of Kanye's mom's death?
Yeah, you know what? I think probably. I think
so fucked.
I think somehow she found out about that. Maybe she didn't think of it herself, but I'm sure she knows by now. It's like she's moving off the date. And, we kind of talked about throughout the year at Nowstalgia Pod, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, get it where you want. Just make sure you get it.
Stay plugged.
This fall was a great window for Taylor Swift's pop domination. And the more I ran the numbers, it's actually like appalling how crazy this is. So Adele and Beyonce last year, high profile. We know that. Also last year, The Weeknd dropped an album. Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, even Britney Spears and Meghan Trainor. And earlier this year, you had Katy Perry. Apart from Selena Gomez, like, there's nobody on the horizon in the pop sphere. She's going to dominate for at least a year with these songs.
Pretty crazy. I mean, you have to imagine at some point, like, Kanye's going to drop another album that he's been working on up in that mountain, but he's probably going to push it off a little bit, hearing whatever comes from Taylor, whatever kind of beef comes from this, he'll use as inspiration. I imagine probably drop it sometime in spring, maybe early summer next year. Yeah, I can't really think of anyone that comes to mind that would be dropping a big pop album. Maybe like one of the Jonas Brothers, I imagine, like
Nick Jonas. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Charlie Puth, I think, is supposed to be coming up, but like, still, like, all the top A tier pop stars, apart from Selena Gomez, they've all dropped recently. Demi Lovato, I guess, could come out, but still, nothing's going to challenge her.
She's been everywhere, and she looks great, man. Loving
yeah,
Demi.
shout the national anthem. Yeah, good for her.
All right, well, why don't we move on from Taylor onto some album reviews. We preface and past pod how there's a lot of albums dropping in the next week or two, and there are a lot. Where do you want to start, Dave?
Well, let's just get a few out of the way. As we said last week, a lot dropped primarily all on last Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not all of them are good. Statistically speaking, that makes sense. Let me just get xxXTentaction out of the way. Obviously, the troubled young XXL freshman has his beef with Drake. We've talked about him here and there. Never been a fan of his music. SoundCloud rapper from Florida. And he dropped his debut album 17, which is only like 20 minutes long. And it's just this emo pile of garbage. #SadBoy. Like, it just totally fails to meet any of the hype, and he barely raps on it. Like, it's just like this other guy, Little Peep, dropped something that's really emo too, and it like the #SadBoys, man. I just hope they don't like take over because this music sucks. I don't care how depressed you are. If you find it relatable, it's not good. Like, the production is acceptable. That's about the only thing I can say about it. So don't listen to that. What about you? What did you like?
Wow. I think that might be the harshest review you've ever given on Nowstalgia Pod. Strong words coming from Dave Martinson. Let's see. I mean, I checked out this Queens of the Stone Age album. I've never been like a huge Queens of the Stone Age fan, but they've been a pretty consistent rock band, almost similar to Spoon in a way, but they're just not as accessible. Like they're much harder and more like maligned style, I would say. And
from the 90s, right? 96, yeah. They started?
Yeah, around then. And they've been consistently putting out work. This album, though, was pretty accessible. And, at times I heard like sound that was similar to Arctic Monkeys. Time I heard them going a little bit harder, like Foo Fighters, like early Foo Fighters, or like even some like punk rock in there. They really tried to expand their horizons on this album, which I'm wondering if they're trying to become like more commercial, more fan friendly in a way, or more popular. But overall, I mean, it's a decent album. Nothing to write home about. If you have a quick 45 minutes, just pop it on, give it a listen. But nothing to write home about.
Yeah, I heard the Head Like a Haunted House song. That it sounded all right.
Yeah, it's okay. The song's really long on it. They're all like 5 or 6 minutes long, which we've been talking about how shorter is better in this day and age. But some rock bands still like to push it out. Similar, look at this segue, to War on Drugs, an album I really enjoyed. A Deeper Understanding. This is their third album since 2011. They had one come out in 2015, I believe. And that album got a lot of buzz. This one, I would say similarly, just well made. The production is impeccable. The War on Drugs, they take in a lot of elements of like Explosions in the Sky in terms of like acoustic sound, and with they bring that electronic feel, but they do it in a way where they bring in lyrics that are just really meaningful, really deep. It's very layered and complex, but like you could listen to this album 7 or 8 different times and hear something different. So I highly recommend War on Drugs. They're probably one of the most underrated bands out there right now.
Well, that's a glowing review, I'd say. I saw they were definitely getting some buzz, which is good to see for the #rock scene. Yeah, those are the 2 big rock releases, right? The rest was mainly hip hop, but there also was Fifth Harmony, the pop quartet named
Fourth Harmony. Yeah,
Fourth Harmony. Fresh off of VMA's performance where they pull a 5th member off stage at the start of their song. Because they're Fifth Harmony, but there's only 4 of them. Want to make sure you know that they're not adding anyone. We get it, and hence the 3rd album is the one that's self-titled. Like, yeah, okay, cool. It's short, but I also have like a huge takedown on this album. What did you think before I go in?
Well, okay, so what the Camila Cabello was the one that left in December.
Correct. And her solo album comes out in middle September.
And I don't know a lot of the context behind it. I mean, I'm assuming it's, pretty normal. Bands get popular, have differences of opinions. One goes one way, one goes the other.
She was
But
the most famous one too.
okay. I don't know. It felt like they were trying to be very like self-aware in terms of how they approached having only 4 members on this, and it kind of fell flat in the way that they approached it. I also just felt like it was a very unmemorable album. There weren't really any singles that I could point to and say, wow, what a song.
Yeah, exactly. So this is their 3rd album in 3 years, which, shout out. That's pretty prolific. They got a lot of good songwriters working for them, obviously.
They're working from home a lot.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They haven't proven to be anything more than singles artists. And
Right.
their lead single with Gucci Mane, Down, is way less interesting than Work It or Work From Home. And without the single being the certified smash that they wanted, what else is there to this album? They're just way less interesting. And, I've given a lot of crap recently for hopping on like Migos songs and getting like those features. But Camila Cabello dropped 2 songs in August, one with Young Thug and one with Quavo. And yes, you're chasing the heat, but I also like the songs a lot more. Like they're just more interesting. So like this Fifth Harmony record, I just think is 30 minutes of generic, pop love music, like, but without there's no hit there. And honestly, the sales projections reflect that. It's only going to hit like 40,000, which is pretty bad for people with, top 10 hits.
It's interesting to see these like really super popular groups come apart and see how the individual artists move on from it. I mean, it's been something we've been aware of happening since, forever, really. You think about going back to like Cream or like any super rock bands like that, but then most notably like Justin Timberlake leaving NSYNC or Beyonce leaving Destiny's Child, something like that.
Yeah.
But it seems like, we had Zayn left.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably the biggest one of recent note.
Harry Styles just left and made his own solo album.
Well, yeah, now it's a hiatus. They're all doing their solo thing.
Right. So it's interesting to see this like cycle go through. It seems like Camille's gonna definitely outshine the rest of the group. I can't even name any other Fifth Harmony members. So
yeah, the one Lauren J. She's the one who had the song with Halsey. That's the only reason I know her name.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what else do you listen to? You check out the Uzi Vert?
Lil Uzi Vert, which we didn't talk about him last week because he dropped this album announcement one day before that big Friday, which was already super packed. And despite one day's notice, he's on track to win the weekend with over 120,000 album sales, which is pretty nuts because Yachty only hit like 40. And they kind of have like a friendly rivalry as like the 2 stars from 2016. And 21 Savage did really good, and now Uzi Vert's going to destroy. 120 is really impressive because this is effectively a retail mixtape, and if you listen to it, you can kind of see that because it's not like there's anything cohesive about it. It's just a bunch of Uzi songs, and it's definitely a little too long. But if you trim the fat, then you like Lil Uzi Vert, I think there's some fun songs in there.
Yeah, it was being someone who hasn't listened to a lot of Uzi Vert except for EXO Tour Life 3. Or EXO Tour Life, I guess, not 3. The first like 4 songs, I really was like, oh man, this album, I don't know if I can get through it. And then it hit this groove in the middle with a couple of songs. Neon Guts I thought was weird, but then I really liked Unfazed with The Weeknd. I thought Pretty Miami was pretty good. X was okay, so I was like, all right. I started grooving a little bit, and then when it ends with EXO Tour Life, I was like, all right. Like this album, it definitely saved it, but it was long. It was a hard listen for someone who's not a big fan.
Yeah, he's a catch a vibe artist, and I think that I tweeted about this song, but For Real, which is towards the top of the song, the first like 45 seconds of that, you get like Uzi switching up his flow, doing like his ridiculous ad libs where he just ad libs the fuck out of like 10 seconds, and then the bass line just drops in over the rest of the beat. And I can just see like the shoulder shimmy that he does when he performs. And I'm like, that's a song that he's going to open up sets to.
Right.
And then Neon Guts, I think, has a great Pharrell performance. Really reminds me of Move That Dope, where he just spits mad fire over that Future song. And The Weeknd really comes to to ball on unfazed as well. And apart from that, I think 444 plus 222 I liked. Uzi is a huge star. Ed Sheeran brought him out in the VMAs, and he has a very unique sound. It's not like he's lyrical at all. He's absolutely not. But XO Tour Life is a mega song. It's my song of the first half of the year. And he's definitely a artist to watch, even if you don't totally vibe with his music. But, you know, will he ever make a like album that like has cohesiveness? I doubt it. I mean, we'll see. But either way, he's fun to watch.
Did you watch the VMAs?
Oh, hell no. That was when Game of Thrones was on.
All right. Yeah, from basically what I gathered from it was the Taylor Swift video, Katy Perry was horrible, and that Uzi Vert came out with Ed Sheeran, and everybody's kind of like, how do these two fit together? Other than that, I didn't really hear anything.
Cardi B had a nip slip.
Oh, nice. VMAs,
boobs, so it's pretty big.
Damn. VMAs are really falling off. They used to be like appointment television. Now it's
I read all the recaps, and Rob Harville on The Ringer, who's a pretty good writer, he writes about rock a lot, but he was like, the VMA's problem is that the A-listers don't feel compelled to go anymore.
Right.
So what are you? You're worthless, because now that the awards mean anything.
Yeah. Well, moving on. What about that Action Bronson album? What was it called? 3000?
Blue Chip 7000.
Blue Chip 7000.
Third and final record in his Blue Chip series. Blue Chips 1, 2 are two of his bigger mixtapes. But this is his third album, and it's also pretty short. It's about, under 40 minutes, and it's just more Action Bronson. He's a rapper's rapper, more of an old school 90s sound, and he's really funny. We've gone over that before, both as a person and both with his bars, just the things he talks about. And yeah, I'd say check it out if you've ever had any interest in Action Bronson, because it's just really solid music. I think Let Me Breathe, the lead single, is probably one of the funnier songs, but overall there's a good Rick Ross performance on there. So yeah, check that out. Blue Chip 7000.
Interesting. Yeah, he's an interesting rapper. I feel like I've seen him live, I think twice now, and each time it's like a fun performance to be at, but I never walk away being like, oh yeah, Action Bronson, like he kills it. I feel like he's just like a fun performer. It's about it.
Yeah, well, I think by his very nature, his rapping is more laid back because of its old school feel. He's always been compared to Ghostface Killah of Wu-Tang.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah. So for that reason, it's not like he doesn't have like an XO Tour Life, something that all the kids know all the words to. He's not that kind of artist. Right. That's kind of why his shine in like the commercial sphere is kind of, I think, peaked. But again, he's such a funny personality that he has a Viceland show.
Yeah, probably his most like well-known song I would probably say is what, Baby Blue, and that's because Chance just slays on that song.
Yeah, definitely Baby Blue. Easy Rider. He's got some good songs for sure.
Any other albums that you checked out?
Yeah, I also checked out the ASAP Mob second studio album, Cozy Tapes Volume 2, Too Cozy, and it's the third ASAP project of the month after ASAP 12 and ASAP Ferg, two projects we've talked about. And unfortunately, this ASAP Mob project is too long and has too many features. But I think that's kind of the point of this. Similar to the first Cozy Tapes, this is a project littered with multiple features, and you're just featuring, all the ASAP Mob and members and like their friends, right? So it's kind of them just hanging out. Again, it's not like it's like Uzi. It's not there's much of a cohesive vision or any message. It's just kind of them making all this music. But because of that, because they're your mic okay?
Yeah, I just muted it because I was burping, and I didn't want you to catch it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, because there's they're showcasing the lower members of the ASAP Mob, and they're bringing in all of these features. It kind of distracts to the music because I think Rocky and Ferg can really rise above everyone else, but because they're hanging out with like the lower guys like ASAP Ant and ASAP Taiwai, like it's just not as good. I mean, there's a few good songs on there. Frat Rules with Cardi and Big Sean I really like. Please Shut Up with Gucci Mane's awesome. Perrier with Nast, Playboy Cardi, and Jaden Smith doing this really cool voiceover is
Jaden
good.
Smith?
Yep, Jane Smith.
What?
He does like a really deep voice. He's not recognizable, but check that out.
Huh.
And then the best song is also the lead single, which is always a problem for us. But this song is great. It's called Wrath. Rocky, Cardi, Uzi, Quavo, and Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean rapping.
It's quite the crew.
Yeah. So it doesn't have a Lamborghini High. It doesn't have telephone calls, which are big smashes from the first Cozy tapes. But overall, if you trim the fat, there's still some good stuff in there.
Isn't Rocky supposed to have an album coming out soon?
Yeah, he's been hinting that he wants to drop his next album by the end of the year. This would be his third album.
Okay, cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of albums coming up end of the year. You know, we already touched on Taylor Swift, A$AP Rocky. Beck announced he's going to be dropping a new album called Colors coming out, I believe October. LCD Sound System will be by this Friday. So
really soon for the date of recording.
Foo Fighters, St. Vincent, a lot of rock.
Hoodie Allen.
Yeah, Hoodie Allen, All American, First Team Bitch. So yeah, we'll have a lot more music to be talking about. Let's jump to Thrones real quick though. Season 7 finale, the Wolf and the Dragon, or the Dragon and the Wolf.
Yep, Dragon and the Wolf.
There you go. And man, incest. Just when you think it's out, they pull you back in.
Nice pull.
But I mean, a lot of stuff happened. It was a very like fan servicey episode. I felt like, at least the first 35 minutes or so.
Well, yeah, because you had a lot of awesome reunions. People that hadn't been in the same room in multiple seasons. You know, like
Brienne and the Hound,
Podrick and Tyrion.
Yep.
You know, Brienne and the Hound. Bronn and Tyrion. The list goes on. So many people, reuniting.
Tyrion and Cersei.
Quips. The Hound and Brienne. It's so many, and I think those are a lot of just cool moments. Nice to see.
A little clunky. I was talking with not friend of the show, he who will not be named, and basically like the way the Hound approached, the mountain and what he said to him, just the way that they wrote that, you couldn't have been more clear in like what you're trying to say. Because I was almost like, is he referring to Arya? I'm pretty sure he's referring to himself, but why would he say it like, you know what I mean? Like,
I didn't find that confusing. I saw a lot of people were like trying to interpret that. I was like, oh, I thought he's like, yeah, you know what's coming for you. Yeah, he meant himself. I thought that was obvious. I don't know.
I thought that was a little confusing. But go on. I cut you off during one of your points.
No, but it just by the conclusion of the episode, I think it puts the end of the season in a good spot. As we've said the past few weeks with, Eastwatch and Beyond the Wall are probably two of the weaker episodes in Game of Thrones, catalog, given the high bar that's been set for the series. By no means bad, but, weaker. And while the journey has been sloppy, I think overall the results are still satisfying, namely Littlefinger.
Yeah, I saw an article today. I forgot to send it to you. Alan Sepinwall posted it where the actor that plays Bran said that there was a scene that was filmed in
Sansa.
With Sansa coming to Bran, basically saying, "Hey, like, can you help me figure this out?" And Bran basically shows her all the Littlefinger stuff that's going on. They figure it out, and it was probably maybe like a 2-minute scene, I'd imagine. And how do they take out a scene like that, which I think explains a lot more, adds a lot of context, it lets Bran actually do something, and instead they take that out, but they leave Theon getting kneed in the groin for like 30 seconds in. Like,
oh yeah, so I'm not defending Theon getting so much screen time, but I think taking that scene out, the Bran Sansa scene, makes the
it's more surprising.
How do you plead, Lord Baelish? I thought that was awesome.
It was awesome.
And then when Bran finally chimes in, and during the takedown of Littlefinger, I was like, oh yeah, finally Bran dunked on someone, because he knows everything. He's 7'5" and has handles of Steph Curry. Like, why don't you use your skills, right? But yeah, I guess it can be a little confusing. I mean, obviously, Sansa doesn't know all that stuff, nor would Arya. They weren't there for a lot of it. So it's clear that Bran told him that. So I can see both sides to it.
I would almost say like maybe something that could have been done better, and this is obviously all with hindsight being 2020. But if they had, while Sansa's like explaining how she's a slow learner and they put all this together, like if they'd cut to like maybe like a scene while she's talking where it shows her
Oh,
like coming to Bran, something like that, it would have
yeah,
been a really good way to fill in and kind of satisfy both sides of it.
sure.
I did think that was a really cool reveal, and the little finger like surprised I look it, like
Yeah,
one of my new favorite gifts of all time, maybe.
yeah. It's the surprised white guy meme from
Very
Giant Bomb.
very appropriate that uh the last words Littlefinger says are Sansa. And also we got a new Littlefinger accent. It's like his 7th one. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
Peter, please.
A memorable shade.
Yeah, indeed. So I think, we had a predictions episode before the season started, which if you want to check that out, see what we got right, got wrong, by all means, SoundCloud.com/Nostalgia Pod.
Stay plugging.
I think one of the things that a lot of people were really wrong on is that we thought the Lannister threat would be, absolved. Cersei Lannister probably would die. Jaime would either die or join the #good guys. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm happy that I was wrong about that, because Cersei Lannister, now that she has a baby, has motivation again, she's just a more interesting threat than the existential ice zombies horde, that's also happens to be CGI. So I think the fact that we have, dual threat and it's more murky for season 8, the final season, is good. All right, good guys are here. Night King is there. They fight. 6 episodes out of them just battling. I think there's more intrigue and more compelling that Cersei's still on the table and, is still being an antagonist.
I think that that's a really good point. I actually, I go back and forth on it because I really just hate Cersei, but at the same time, like she's almost making the most sense out of everybody else. Like even when Euron was like, "All right, peace, I'm out of here, I'm going back," and we all thought he actually was just leaving, or at least I did in that moment. I was like, that makes a lot
I
of
did too. I didn't see the twist coming. Yeah.
I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, if I was them and I just saw a zombie, I'd be like, I'm going home and I'm never gonna let these zombies get to me.
But Cersei acting the way she did is very in character. That's very Cersei, and I thought it was also quite quite believable. I mean, I think some people are saying like she would plan to have Euron leave, and that's weird. I didn't think that was weird at all. I thought this made a lot of sense for how Cersei was, and getting the great scene with Tyrion, and then her scene with Jaime, where I actually was like, wait, shit, is she really going to kill Jaime Lannister right now? Like, that's how he's going to go? But
I got legit nervous, dude.
So did I. I thought it was believable. So I really liked how all this was handled. And now the Golden Company is in fact coming. I think Dario is going to be a part of that, whether he's infiltrated them or actually just a member of them now and, will become a bad guy. It's great. And the part that is still kind of annoying to swallow is that the wall came down because of the dumb plan.
Right.
That's how the Night King got Viserion. So that is annoying, but whatever. It's fine. Again, sloppy build-up, satisfying results for the season is my takeaway.
Well, something that the Ringer talked about is that you have these two huge powers. It's basically like Professor X and God, I can't think of his name. Help me out.
Magneto.
Yeah, Magneto. You have like Magneto north of the wall, and then you have Bran south of the wall right now. And neither of them got a lot of screen time. I mean, like the Night's King, you see basically that he has the skills of like Bruce Jenner circa 1970 with his javelin throw. You see that he's this crazy powerful guy. You already knew that. Bran, I mean, we know he can see everything. We know he has warging powers. He's like barely had any like time to really shine with that. You need to give both of these characters significant time to build up like how powerful and meaningful they are to this war. So we definitely need to get more Night King backstory in season 8 for any of this to really make sense. Because Like if it's basically just like, oh, he's this really powerful guy, and all this has just happened by chance. Like John did the stupid plan instead of the Night King knowing all this was going to happen and luring him there to get a dragon. That would be so much more satisfying than, oh yeah, John is just really dumb, and it ended up with them getting a dragon.
Right, and absolutely, it's a fantastic point. And if that was not to be the case, and it just kind of ended really straightforward, the criticism would be that the show was more intriguing when it was the squabbles of the houses and really political and stuff, you know? And I think that's, you know, a really unfair criticism to have. So you don't want, I don't think they will, but you don't want the showrunners to put the show's finale in a position to have people have that response.
Right.
And I think, you know, season 7 kind of took people by surprise because it was the first time that the show made mistakes we weren't accustomed the show to make. You know, as the genre bending show that it has been, not to mention the incredible ratings juggernaut. But, you know, again, the show is by no means bad. It's just, you know, it finally tripped.
Yeah, and there were still things in this season finale that I felt were kind of, not that great. Like the way Bran just spelled everything out about John, which I understand, like, there are a lot of people that don't deep dive into this show. There are people that just watch for the tits and dragons every week. Fair. So you do need to explain some of these things pretty bluntly. But then for him to be able to see everything and not know that John is also like, you know, like a product of an actual marriage and not a bastard. Like, all right, that didn't really make a ton of sense to me.
See, I envision him as Bran. This might, you know, we don't know. I interpret Bran's three-eyed raven status as that. He can see everything, but he has to go there, right? He has to actually go see it.
It's like reading a book.
So it's like by chance, there's lots of stuff he still hasn't seen.
Right. And then Sam just totally taking Gilly's fucking shine there. What a bastard.
Yeah. What a hashtag man. You know, white man.
Mansplaining. And then we also had Tyrion just sitting outside the door listening to Jon and Dany make the new heir to the throne.
I don't think that's romantic at all. I think he's just wary of the political alliance getting personal. That's my take. I don't think Tyrion's actually invested personally like that.
For someone as smart as Tyrion, I would imagine he would probably foresee that happening. He knew that Jon was in there.
Yeah. Again, I think it's up for interpretation and it'll come to a head, you know, really quickly.
Yeah, it did come to a head.
Yeah, the wheel was broken, if you will. The White Wolf. But, you know, just some notes about the show as a whole before we wrap up. 16.5 million people watched the finale live/streamed it that night.
Crazy.
And that's up 19% from the season debut and 36% from the season finale last year, which was one of the best, you know, episodes of the show's history. The show averaged 31 million total viewers per episode, which is fucking absurd, which is up 34% from last season. And then finally, an estimated 90% of US HBO subscribers watch Game of Thrones. So the show is just an absolute force, which is incredible. Now, you'll see this all over the internet because it's an easy piece to get clicks, right? When is Game of Thrones coming back? 2019. Tell me more, right?
Right.
So Mashable had a great Reddit for this. I can't take credit. So production is rumored to begin in October this year, which is about 2 months later than production started last year. Hollywood Reporter sources say that the shoot for season 8, the final season, could last until this coming August. It's a 10-month shoot. And season 7 was only a 6-month shoot. And they had 5 months of post-production time. So they need a lot of time to render and process all this footage, not to mention set aside time for the special effects, of which, of course, was expected to be many. It's 6 episodes, but they're all expected to be more than an hour, but less than 90 minutes because that's when actors' salaries get prorated. Found that out. Can't pay them too much now. So given all this production time, the earliest we could see season 8 would be January, February 2019. But I don't think they would drop it in the middle of that, you know, that dead zone. The Young Pope came out there, shot the Young Pope, Big Little Lies. But Game of Thrones is not going to come out in in winter. I know winter is here, but they're not going to do that. But they also don't want to wait forever, right? So I think June's too late. They'll probably go back to their traditional March, April window that they've been doing before, basically, dominate the spring. And probably the best time to do it would be Sunday, March 24th, meaning the finale would air April 28th, because this way the show dominates that whole spring for 6 weeks, and then it ends right before Infinity War comes out and the summer blockbuster season starts. I think it's just perfect. It's a perfect window to have nothing at all can match with you, because January and February that's they're not going to drop it there, but they're also not going to wait forever. They don't want to wait 2 years. So this would be 1 year and 8 months if they dropped it at the end of March. Big wait.
That sounds like a pretty solid prediction. Like, makes a lot of sense. So we'll definitely. I mean, we'll people will be blowing up Game of Thrones news until we get to season 8. We'll be hearing a lot about it. Quick before we end, MVP of the season for you.
Ooh, good one. Night King is close. I want to say John, even though he had a big fuck up. I still want to say John.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was confirmed that he's the heir to the Iron Throne. He finally got south of the wall with Dany. I mean, yeah, he had a lot of good stuff. He went back and forth like 100 times a season, covered a lot of miles really quickly.
Get those frequent flyer miles must be really good. Also, one last thing about John. Why the fuck is he named Aegon? His older dead brother was Aegon too. That's
stupid.
It's weird.
Stupid.
Targaryens are weird, but it's still kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, they could have gone with, what is it, Jaehaerys?
Yeah.
Jaehaerys.
The name of 2 Targaryen kings.
Yeah. The least valuable player of the season.
In terms of impact, but he actually did stuff, probably Tyrion. But overall, it's probably Varys because he did fucking nothing.
I was gonna say, where was Varys?
Yeah.
It might actually be Wolf, because Wolf, I mean, anytime they could have used Wolf, they were like, nah. I don't want to spend on that CGI. We gotta make these dragons.
Ghost. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, Ghost. No time for you.
Anyways, we have to wrap up there. We're gonna be talking fall movie preview next week, so tune in for that.
TV preview.
Ah, Jesus. Yeah, we'll do a movie preview at some other point. Oscar movies. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But until next week. Dave Martinson, Pat Sheehan, at Martin Swagger, at Sheehan World Peace, at Nowstalgia Pod, SoundCloud.com, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play. Find us everywhere. Not on Spotify. But if you want to listen to Taylor Swift's new song, you can find that on Spotify. It's not good.
Don't listen to it. It sucks.
No. All right. We'll be back next week. Have a good week. See you then.